Hi, I'm Sage Burgener. I have a super smart, super cute 7-year-old boy and the sassiest fucking 3-year-old you've ever met in your life. Her name is Charlie. She's just like me. I love weightlifting with all of my heart. And I love the plantain chips from Trader Joe's. Those are my favorite snack ever.
Ooh, which one? The spicy ones or just the regular ones?
The regular, straight up salted regular ones. I
Man,
can't get enough.
I can't stop eating them when I start.
Me either.
The thing is though, like I feel terrible after I've eaten like half a bag of them. Something it's like it's not. I don't feel like physically nauseous. I just feel like I don't know, just gross. So away from them.
I know I have to measure mine now, or else I will eat 3 bags. Kidding.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Hi, Sage. And so Charlie is. What's her nickname? Is it Peanut? I feel like I only knew her name as Peanut. Okay, so her name's actually Charlie. Okay.
Yeah, it's not actually Peanut, but yes, her name is Charlie, and she's 3.5 years old. She's also a Taurus.
Oh boy.
So I'm fucked.
Oh man. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then Mikey's your boy, right? He's 7.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he just turned 7 in November.
And his temperament and personality is different to Charlie.
Oh my gosh. When he was younger, I had so many days where I would call my mom sobbing. I'm such a bad mom. Mikey bit and punched and kicked one of these kids on a play date today, and now nobody wants to be my friend, and I can't go to the playground because I can't take him anywhere, and all of this. Like, he was so difficult. And not only, he probably actually wasn't, but he was my first kid.
Yeah.
And so like everything seemed like the biggest deal in the whole entire world until you realize that everything's just a phase and they're not going to be like that forever. But he was so hard until he was like 6. And then at 6, there was like this little shift that happened. And I remember just having a conversation with him and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can totally reason with you now. And you'll listen and we can just have a conversation and I don't have to threaten you. This is awesome.
Yeah.
And now he's like my really calm one. He's the one that like keeps me calm and he's like, relax, mom. I'm like, you right. I need to relax.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Whenever Charlie's around and she's being super sassy, Mikey and I will kind of just look at each other like, okay, someone fell off the wrong side of the bed this morning. So he's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's really neat when they get to that stage of like kind of like little people. They're more like little people than like little kids. Like you can talk to them. And yeah, Oaks and I do the same thing when like the middle one, Arrow, does something crazy, or even the baby does something crazy. Oaks and I kind of look at each other and we're like, wow, what just happened?
I'm always like, we got to stay in this together, dude, because this was crazy.
Well, cool. So so you're a single mom, and my question to you is, what is the biggest challenge for you? Like, take the kids out of the equation, for your personal life, for your emotional well-being. I mean, obviously don't take the kids out of the equation because that's a big factor in it. But like, what's the biggest challenge for you having the 2 kids and being by yourself? I mean, maybe you have a lot of help, but that'd be great if you can discuss that. And then the second question leading up to that is, what about for the kids? Like, what's the biggest challenge for them? How was that transition from there for them?
I think the biggest challenge being a single mom is that I'm the one who chose to be in this position. I'm the one who made the decision to uproot their whole entire lives and to kind of take away that family dynamic. And I'm probably going to get emotional because I'm about to start my period, okay? And so I could, from the bottom of my heart, know that I'm a better person since everything went down, and I'm a better mom and everything. But there will always be that little bit of guilt of not having that really good, solid base for them, not having that really, that place they can go back to where they know there's a mom and there's a dad.
Right.
And I mean, what it comes down to is I made a decision, and I need to honor that decision and make it the best that I can possibly make it. Don't make it worse by then filling yourself with guilt about it. That's not going to be productive, So I would say that's one part that's hard for me as a single mom, is dealing with the guilt of placing us in this, not a secure position. It's not a secure position. But I can't ever complain about it because it was my decision. I have made it from the minute it happened. I made a promise to myself, you are not going to be one of those single moms that plays victim. I'm a single mom, and life is so hard because I have the kids by myself and blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to be that person. It's not right. Again, it was my decision, and I'm not doing anyone any favors doing that. And I do have such an amazing support system. My parents especially are incredible, and their dad takes them on the weekends, and he's an amazing dad. So I couldn't ask for a better situation than that. He wants to be a part of their lives as much as possible. It's not like I'm doing it completely on my own.
Right.
A really good dad. And, so we just make the best of it. And aside from that, the selfish part of me is there's so many things that I want to go and do in life. There's so many, especially like career wise. I've had a lot of opportunities to go and travel more and coach certifications and seminars and travel around with the Burgener strength team. And I just simply can't do that because I have kids, but that's literally everybody's life. Right. Everybody deals with that.
Right.
So I'm not special in that regard. And in terms of what is probably most difficult for the kids, I think that it depends on what phase they're in. So like my daughter, for example, is in this complete mommy phase right now. And so, on the weekends when she has to go to her dad's, she's really upset about it. And that's hard for him. No parent wants to be sitting there hearing their kid cry for the other parent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then my son is entering into like total idolization of his dad. And so, sometimes he wants to go and be with his dad, and that's not what the schedule is. And so, if they need one more than the other, it can be hard sometimes. But we do a really good job of, if they ever want to call the parent, we let them call them and just kind of talk them through it. And anytime I get like guilt about it or whatever, my ex will always remind me like, hey, they need to be resilient. We need to create strong children, not children that just, get whatever they want, or we never let them struggle. We never let them suffer. We're creating kids who are resilient. And that always resonates with me a lot.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And but it sounds like you guys are doing a really good job of, making sure that their needs are met, but at the same time, like, this is how it is. And this is how it's going to be for the rest of their childhood. And what do you think, like, when people are in this situation and they can't, you see it a lot where it's just the kids come out with having like this negative experience? You know, what do you think, like just one or two things that you guys do that you think, I mean, who knows how it's going to all end up, right? We don't know. None of us know how our kids are going to turn out. But what do you think, like the two things, like you might have even just touched on them, that can help people in the same position, you know, single parenting, father or mother and mother, like make it so that when the kids, they still have this really great sense of their parents. You know, it's not like, well, all I remember is that I never stayed with my mother, or I never stayed, you know, like have this great, like, yeah, they were a unit. And it was, you know, like, what do you think we could like help other people with that?
Well, the best advice, as I was going into my divorce, my cousin Isaac and I were talking, and he just said, I'm going to say one thing. My dad is my best friend, but I will never forgive him for talking shit on my mom when we were growing up. And he's like, so no matter how much you guys hate each other, no matter how much you guys disagree or whatever, do not talk shit on him to your kids. And I was like, I'm never going to talk shit on him. But you don't realize it's like the little things where it's like, oh, I don't want to go to dad's this weekend. I could 100% be like, I know, honey, I know you're going to miss me so much. And it's going to be so hard for me to be away from you this weekend. That's being selfish. That's making it about me. That's wanting them to love me out of selfish reasons. So in that instance, I have to be like, no, like it's going to be so fun to go hang out with your dad. Like, I know he's so excited to see you. You guys are probably going to do so many fun things. This is me saying this while I'm literally so angry at him and so bitter towards him. And, you know, you don't like your ex for a reason. There's a reason that you're your ex. And so making that conscious decision to be a better person and remember what you were like as a kid. How did you want to have a relationship with your dad? What did you want your relationship to look like with your mom? Don't deprive that from your children just because you want them to like you better than they like the spouse.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a lot of anxiety that comes from what he's probably saying about me. I mean, he like hates my guts. So what he's probably saying about me, but I can't control that. And I can control the fact that, you know, Mikey or Charlie can grow up and be like, oh yeah, my mom was always on my dad's side. That's what I want them to be able to say. I don't want them to ever say, oh yeah, my mom couldn't stand my dad.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think that's really, really important to make sure that it goes really smooth for them and makes it still feel like it's a family working together and not like they're just with mom or just with dad.
Right. Yeah, that's really great. I mean, even in like a relationship, like I think that's good advice, to be honest, because sometimes like I just did this the other day. We were skiing and Arrow, you mean, he's just turned 4 and he's like this little shredder on the mountain, but he will get stuck and then he doesn't want help. And I'm the only one on skis and Pat's on the snowboard and Pat's like down the mountain with Oaks, you know, and I usually have to help Arrow out and he doesn't want help. And I'll be kind of frustrated because I'm left here with Arrow and he's like, I want Daddy. I'm like, yeah, where is he right now? Huh? Where is he? I don't know where he is. Like, as soon as I say it, I'm like, that was terrible. I shouldn't have said, you know, but like, it's an easy thing to just slip into for anyone, you know, because
Yes. When you're frustrated with someone, you're like, you want other people to know your frustrations about them.
Right. But
you know?
It's not fair. Yeah. Like you said, it's not fair.
Yeah.
So, oh, well, I think that's really great advice. And what about anything like you said that you know, ideally, you know, you have all these career aspirations and stuff. And, you know, most people do it. They think about the things like if they didn't have kids, you know, obviously we all want our kids, but it's like, oh man, we could be putting this amount of hours into the business or all these things. What about like socially? Do you find, I mean, you're a really social person and, you know, easily liked. And so I imagine it's probably pretty easy for you to be social. But do you feel like is it weird having to be like, well, I'm going to go on a date. I've got 2 kids. Like, you know, like how does that play out for you?
Yeah, it is weird. And, you know, when you first get divorced, you're not sure if you go through that phase where you're not sure if you'll ever be loved again. You're not sure if you'll ever find a relationship that you want to be in again, that's worth it to be in again. And then you feel, you know, you go through that phase of feeling like you have a lot of baggage because you have kids. And I'm still pretty young, so it's not like people my age want to dive right into being like having 2 kids in the equation. And my dad, he actually had a pretty hard conversation with me, and he was telling me about before he met my mom, he was dating this chick that he really, really loved, but she had 2 kids and he wanted nothing to do with that. And he's like, so we didn't end up working out because I didn't want to be a stepdad. And
Mm-hmm.
so it sounds like a kind of fucked up conversation, but he basically was like, it's going to be really hard for you to find somebody now that you have kids. And I didn't take offense to it. It was the reality of the situation. And it's kind of nice hearing that honest truth, you know, like something that I have to take into consideration. Um, but it was weird for a while. Like I almost didn't, I wanted to just like be who I was without being Sage who has 2 kids.
Mm.
And then I realized that like the kids are a huge part of who I am. And they're a huge part of why I'm very independent and why I'm driven and am who I am, because I had to grow up really fucking fast in order to raise them. So I kind of use it as like, yeah, I have 2 kids. Like I'm able to go and do all this stuff and live this life. And on top of it all, I have 2 humans that I'm raising. And so I kind of started seeing it as like a really positive thing about me. Which sounds like I'm saying I felt like my kids were almost like a burden or baggage. That's not what I'm saying. But
No.
you feel that way sometimes when
Yeah.
you go back into the dating world,
Yeah.
you know? And the other good thing about having kids when you go into the dating world is that you learn really quick that you have to be very particular about the people that you're willing to go and date.
Mm.
Because right away it becomes not like, oh, am I going to marry this person? But do I want this person eventually to end up around my kids?
Mm.
Do I want this person to have any sort of influence on how, even if they're only there a little bit, on how my kid turns out? And so it really helps weed out people super fast. Like I know right away that's not somebody that I want around my kids. So I probably shouldn't be dating them.
Right.
Or yeah, I mean, I feel like they would be a really positive influence on my kids. So I'll consider going on another date with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it helps sort of weed out the assholes. Did I even answer your question? I feel like I'm really going off in all different directions.
No, you definitely answered the question. Yeah, that was perfect. Yeah. Well, yeah, I think those are some great insights, and yeah, I think you're doing a great job, and keep it up.